Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Best of SEJ Summit webinar series. Today, we're going to be joined by the amazing Larry Kim, founder and CEO of Mobile Monkey, to talk about the top Facebook Messenger hacks of all time. Larry is always presents extremely useful and interesting information, always has amazing visuals in his presentations, and I always walk away learning a lot. So I think we're all going to really enjoy this webinar. My name is Brent Satoris. I will be moderating today. Larry, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself real quick, and then we'll go through some housekeeping notes.
Awesome. I have an intro in the presentation, but it's great to be here. Okay.
You want to go ahead and share your presentation screen anytime you can too.
Okay. Show my screen. How about
There
now?
you go. Yep, perfect, right there. There we go. Unicorns, of course, right? So running through a couple quick housekeeping notes. If during the webinar you have any questions, comments, or anything you'd like to ask, there is a question box at the bottom of the webinar control panel. You can ask all of your questions and make your comments through there. We will have a Q&A session at the end, and I will ask those questions. We will also have a number of polls, 2 polls during the webinar, and at which point we will stop and ask you to participate and answer the poll, and then we will go back into the presentation, and it's helpful, to get a sense of your information. So please take a moment to participate in those polls when they do come up. We're going to do our best throughout the presentation to link any resources. So if we mention a certain tool or if we mention a certain resource, we're going to try to link it. If we don't, just ask us for it, and we'll make sure we get that link into the discussion, the chat box. Lastly, the entire webinar is going to be recapped in a post on Search Engine Journal within the next day or two. It will have a video, it will have the audio, it will have the questions, it'll have the answers, it'll have a lot of information about it. So you will be able to then share that with all your friends and family and colleagues, or watch it a second time. Without any further ado, I'm going to pass it over to Larry and let him dive into his presentation.
Thanks, Brent. But just curious, have you done any work with messenger marketing at all, personally?
I have not, actually. I mean, I've talked to some people and I've worked on, a couple small things, but nothing that I would consider like an active campaign or active engagement. So I'm personally
Sure.
kind of excited to hear what you have to say as well.
Cool. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this stuff as well as we're going through it. So yeah, we're talking about the top 10 chatbot or Facebook Messenger marketing hacks of all time. Everything you ever needed to know about how to be successful using this exciting new marketing channel. On the agenda today, we'll talk briefly about why I think this is the greatest growth marketing hack of 2018 and beyond, and also we'll be covering the basics of how to build these Facebook Messenger applications, but also spending a lot of time on different tips and tricks and strategies to really make these things work extremely well. As well as some time for questions and answers. So before jumping into all the Facebook Messenger marketing hacks, I thought I would introduce myself briefly. My name is Larry Kim. I am slightly obsessed with unicorns. I live in Harvard Square in Cambridge. It's a famous area where Facebook and Microsoft was founded. It's also where I started my last business, WordStream, working out of a bakery called Panera Bread because of the free rent. But also it grew over the last decade to be one of the world's largest, actually the world's largest pay-per-click advertising marketing software company. I moved out of the bakery a couple of years ago, and actually last week the company was acquired for about $150 million. So that was pretty crazy. In the last year, I started a new bot company called Mobile Monkey, which is we're focused on becoming the world's best Facebook Messenger marketing platform, and I've been working on that for about a year now. Last thing I'll say about myself is I have a family with a 3-year-old and another kid that was born over the weekend, just on Saturday actually, named Oliver. All right, so enough about me. Back to our story. We're talking about kind of why marketers should care about chatbots. So won't spend too much time on this, but just in a nutshell, guys, there is more daily active users on messaging applications such as Messenger than users of social media. So that's because messaging is just a more, it's more critical for people, I guess. But the funny thing about this is that less than 1% of companies have the ability to actually engage automatically with these users that are using messaging, which is crazy because your customers are using messaging, so why can't you reach them there? So in terms of which messaging applications you should be focusing on, it's kind of a no-brainer. Because of how the demographics look here. There's just a lot of people using Facebook Messenger. That's not to say that other messengers aren't popular, like Snapchat or WhatsApp. The problem is there's just no, there isn't a kind of an API. There's no like chatbot or third-party APIs for accessing the data that flows through, like WhatsApp or Snapchat. So basically, there's APIs for Skype and Kik and Line and Telegram, but as you can see, there's quite a drop-off in terms of the popularity. Facebook Messenger, I think, is really interesting because it has 1.3 billion daily active users on the platform, and that's growing at an enormous rate. So I think there's a very good chance that your customers are on this platform. Reason number two why I'm really interested in Facebook Messenger marketing is just it kind of is got the best engagement rate for any marketing channel right now. So if you think about email marketing, you'd be doing well if you can get a 5 or even 10% open rate these days. It's because of very aggressive spam filters. Organic post reach on social media is typically between 0 and 1%. But on the other hand, Facebook Messenger boasts open rates and engagement rates of 70 or 80% within the first hour, and that is because people are just obsessed with their phones and they keep it's always on, etc. Guys, another thing I'll say here is that chat, like online chat, it's not new. It's been around for a little while, but I think that chatbots using Facebook Messenger is a better solution because it's better for the customer because they don't have to wait. It's better for the business because you don't have to staff the kind of a customer service line here with human operators. And then the last reason why I love chatbots is because they have really fantastic conversion rates. It's just so much, if you're spending any money at all on online advertising, pay-per-click advertising, I would just think that with cost per click so high, you'd be better off sending traffic to a chatbot where you can kind of automatically convert them in real time, as opposed to just sending them to some clunky landing page where they fill out a contact us form and you get back to them, who knows, like next week or something. Okay, so those are some of the reasons why I love chatbots. Let's talk a little bit about the basics of building blocks of chatbot applications. So here's the thing, when I tell people about like building a chatbot, a lot of people, they get confused and they think that I'm trying to build like Siri or Google Home or Alexa. Well, that's definitely something you can do with chatbot. You can definitely, it's called kind of questions and answers, to be able to answer commonly asked questions. But it's not actually my favorite use case. When I think about Facebook Messenger applications and marketing, I'm less interested about building a Siri. I'm more interested in doing something called chat blasting. Chat blasting is you can think of it like email marketing, except that they actually get seen by people with a really, really high open rates and engagement rates. It's not just the higher engagement rates, but also what you'll see today is that the content that you can deliver over chat is substantially more engaging and more interesting than what you can send over just one-dimensional emails. All right. So if you've never seen a chatbot or a Facebook Messenger application before, this is an example of a kind of a conversation between a user and a chatbot. In this case, the monkey or the robot here, the chatbot is trying to. You can think of this as a alternative form of a landing page. The chatbot is asking the user for like their information, to sign up for something, and this is just more engaging than clunky landing pages. So how do you how do you build this stuff? Typically there's two ways of doing it. Way number one is you can just go to Facebook, and if you're a software engineer, you can use the Facebook developer APIs. Not a lot of marketers do this because 99% of them aren't really great programmers. So what marketers typically do is they'll just use a visual chatbot builder. Now, Mobile Monkey is actually one of the leading visual chatbot builders. That's my company. There are others out there, of course, but I can kind of give you an example of how this works. Basically, it's a lot like using something like WordPress, where you can create web content without having to create, without having to do any content. Just dropping in the content using a WYSIWYG editor. There's different types of content to build your chat experience, that your Facebook Messenger marketing experience. So there's something called static content. Static content is just like as it sounds. It's going to be stuff like text and images. So just give you an example. These things at the top here, like text, images, lists, galleries, videos. This is all static content, and you can just drop them into chat pages. A chat page is like a web page. It's just a collection of one or more elements, like text or images, and so you just assemble the different elements. In this case, a webinar invite. So it's just some text. A live webinar, Here, there's a new webinar, sign up below. Okay, so just assembling this stuff into a page. In this case, let's just put an image and some text. And then when you then send the page to the user via Facebook Messenger, this is what it looks like. All right, so this is a push notification to one of your subscribers via Messenger of just an image and some text. So the question then becomes, well, that's kind of interesting, but how do you deliver more dynamic experiences, for example, to engage with the user to get a user input? Like maybe you might want to ask them for their contact information, or what time, which webinar would you like to register for, etc. And so for that, we have these dynamic chat content elements, specifically things like forms and quick questions. This is very similar to how in HTML there's this notion of forms where you can ask users for information, and you can then save and store that information and use it for like customizing the experience. A form is just a sequence of questions. A quick question is just essentially it's just one question. And then when you're doing questions in chat, you can ask for like multiple choice. So for example, what time would you like to show up for, like 9 a.m., noon, or 3 p.m.? Those are multiple choices. Or you can just freeform text input. That's where you just ask them for their email address or whatever, and they can just type whatever you want, and you're saving that the input value as a variable. Okay, so this is what that looks like, the dynamic content when it's deployed to a chat user via Messenger. Like they're just being able to ask all these questions and save the answers dynamically using chat. I mentioned earlier you can send other types of content. One is video. Video, I think, is fantastic because it's like a mobile-friendly ad format. You don't have to do a lot of reading. You can just watch or listen to someone talk to you. So that's where you would send a video. You could send attachments like PDF files or whatever. Like say you're trying to get people to sign up for some kind of a, I don't know, some kind of a guide, like an ebook. Well, you don't have to send them a link to some dumb web page to download the resource, like the asset. That you can just send it to them via chat instead, and then that makes it more seamless. So that's sort of the basic building blocks when it comes to chat in terms of just the dynamic and static content elements to assemble your experience. The next thing people I talk about is how to navigate through a chatbot experience. So there's two different ways of navigating in a chat experience. One is just using button-based navigation system. So that's on the left here, where you're kind of giving users a menu. It's like, choose from an option below, contact Larry, about Larry, directions, etc. So this is kind of like one of those phone trees where you call like Home Depot or something, and you say like, the automated services like press 1 for sales, press 2 for service, press 3 for directions, and I think those are very helpful because it kind of gives you a scope of what the automated bot is capable of handling. It kind of gives the user some kind of a clue as to what types of responses that it's expecting, what's on the menu basically. The other way of doing kind of these navigational experience is just using natural language processing, where you just don't even have any menus at all, and just be very open-ended with your questions, like how can we help you today, the user can type whatever they want to. You then have to analyze what the user is asking for and try to find a response that kind of matches the intent of the user's question or query. So the way that you do this is using keywords. Okay, so previously we were building up content like a webinar sign-up page using these basic building blocks of content of text and images. What you do is you add triggers, some keyword triggers for this content. For example, today's webinar or register for webinar. Like, these are different keywords that are related to this piece of chat content, so that when someone does a natural language query for something similar to this intent, the chatbot can analyze the intent of what the user was asking and can serve up the content that is associated with this intent. So it's kind of like making a little bit of a search engine where you have an answer for every question, and so what you end up doing is that these tools like MobileMonkey will record every query that users are asking for, like what's your hours, or what's your refund policy, or so you'll build up a database of all the common questions that people ask your business, and typically 50, 60, 70% of the questions are kind of the same questions over and over again. So what you should do is periodically in your chatbot review the unanswered questions, the answers, the questions that the bot wasn't able to respond to, and then create content that kind of answers those questions, so that next time someone asks, they can get the answer. So those are some of the basics in terms of the content types, the building blocks, as well as the navigation through a chatbot. I want to give some real examples of building this stuff. As I was saying before, I think the crown jewel of Facebook Messenger marketing is chat blasting. It's not so much creating Alexa or some kind of like a intelligent assistant. And so I want to talk a little bit about the rules. Basically, if somebody messages your Facebook page, as long as they message you first, subject to a few restrictions that we'll talk about, you have the right or the ability to blast them with content forever, basically. There's a few caveats, but we can get to that in just a second. So as soon as somebody messages your page, all right, Brent, as soon as someone messages your page, you get all this information back. You get their contact, their first, last name, gender, language, location, country, time zone, and this kind of information. It's not like Cambridge Analytica where you get like all their friends, photos, and birthdays and all this nonsense. But they do give you enough user information to strike up a conversation with them, and you get this information. In addition to this information, you have the ability, the permissions. Facebook grants you the ability to message them back via push notifications. So, for example, this is the chat blaster in MobileMonkey. I can just send a chat blast of content to 257 contacts. I think that's pretty interesting. In terms of the chat blasting, that can be done in terms of you can do an immediate chat blast. That's where you just blasting it right now, or you can do scheduled, drip blasting, where you kind of maybe you want to send out a chat blast, like if you're a restaurant, maybe send it like an hour before lunch or an hour before dinner to get people kind of thinking about your business at the right time. So that's scheduling of chat blasts. And I just really love chat blasting because the engagement rate is really high. This is just a funny example. I actually blasted a blog post to a bunch of people, including Neil Patel, who I'm surprised to see is actually one of my chat subscribers. The funny thing is, you would expect Neil, as a really capable marketer, to kind of be able to tell what's marketing versus what's super valuable content. And you can see he's actually consuming all my content here because his avatar is down here. And so I'm even able to get all these smart people to read my content. So in terms of the caveats, like what are the rules for chat blasting? Well, for starters, you have to honor unsubscribes. And so if somebody types either unsubscribe or stop, or other words related to kind of trying to opt out, then you have to honor those requests, and you don't actually have to do anything here. Like Mobile Monkey actually does this for you automatically, where the unsubscribe is implemented for you. There's a couple other restrictions, and to explain those chat blasting restrictions, I just explained to you the difference between a promotional and a non-promotional chat blast. Okay, so on the left here is an example of a promotional chat blast. Yeah, it says Super Monday deals, eat one beef burger, get another beef burger free, discount code 5BG. Like, that is the actual Facebook example given in the Facebook documentation as a promotional chat blast. A non-promotional chat blast could be something like a blog post announcement, a shipping confirmation, an order confirmation, delivery notification, like these types of just FYI kind of things where we're not overtly trying to sell stuff. And so now that I've kind of described to you the difference between promotional and non-promotional blasts, the rules are as follows for chat blasting. When a user messages your page, okay, so say Brent messages me through my Facebook page, says, "Hi Larry." Okay, so my bot can then, over the next 24 hours, we can send Brent as many promotional or non-promotional blasts as we wish for the next 24 hours, okay? Beyond that 24-hour period, we have the ability to send Brent one additional promotional offer, okay? But there's no limit to how many things I can send you that are non-promotional in nature.
Is that one per 24 hours, or is that one period after the 24 hours?
It's I can message you once after you've messaged me. Like, first 24 hours, I can message you whatever I want, how many times I want. After that 24 hours, I can send you one additional promotional message.
Gotcha.
But no limit on non-promotional messages.
But if somebody messages you back, so if I do a non-promotional and I'm just like, "Hey, just want to know if you're having a good day," yes, I am. We're back on.
Yeah, we're back in business. The 24-hour clock we're back to, like, you reset the clock because you engaged with me again. So I get another 24-hour period of sending you whatever I want, plus one additional promotional message. Sometimes people ask me, well, how does Facebook know if you're sending promotional or non-promotional content? Well, they employ machine learning algorithms to kind of analyze the content, and they can figure out whether or not it's promotional or non-promotional in nature. My tip is just like send non-promotional stuff that provoke responses so that it resets the clock. So it's like I'm just sending a message, "Do you like puppies?" And I've pre-populated a button that says yes. If you hit the yes button, that's resetting the
current events questions, right? Like, did you watch this game tonight, or
Yeah, exactly. But that's just you don't even have to do this, because like if you're just sending out blog posts or like like informational stuff, like event notifications, that kind of stuff, like there's a new webinar, that's considered non-promotional. Remember, this is the example of what they call promotional. This is the Facebook thing. Super Monday deals, eat one beef burger, get another free. So just as long as you're not sending that stuff, there's no restrictions here. This is kind of just expanding on that. They make you categorize your chat blasts. So non-promotional content, you need to just specify what the content is. Like, is it a new blog post? Is it a shipping update? Is it an event reminder? And there's 21 different categories of non-promotional content that is allowed. And you just have to kind of label or tag your content with the appropriate label. You don't want to mislabel your content, though. If it's promotional, then they'll know, because of those machine learning languages that kind of police the system. Okay. There's one last final loophole in the system, and that is in your business manager, you can apply for something called subscription messaging. Okay, subscription messaging, as you can see here, it's in your business manager here. Just apply for this feature. If you are approved for it, you can be exempted altogether from all this nonsense, all these rules on chat blasting. So for example, if you're a website like SEJ that does like blog posting and this kind of stuff, and you want to send breaking news, that would actually qualify under like the news category, and you're eligible for an exemption for this stuff, because I think the expectation is when people engage with SEJ, they want to hear from you guys periodically on the latest breaking news in the space. All right. So
does that apply to promotional? Because if you go back, the wording says like exclusion, this allows your page to send non-promotional content as much as you want. So is the exemption only for the
non-promotional? Yeah. So it's saying you can send non-promotional content on a recurring basis if you get this exemption. These rules there's a lot of them. I think usually you're good. Like either if you get this exemption, or as long as your chat content falls into one of these 21 categories of non-promotional stuff, you're usually golden. Like one of these two will apply. I think they're just trying to limit like deals, like like Groupon or something, from sending out stuff that's kind of very salesy in nature. So Brent, so far I've been talking about like how to create the content and how to blast it, and what are the rules on how to blast the content to your users. We have Facebook Messenger. We also talked about like why Facebook Messenger is such a big deal with those billions of users. The big question now is just like, how do you get subscribers? Like, how do you get, how many likes do you have on your page, Brent? Like probably thousands, right? So the question is, how do you get subscribers? Like, do you just sit around and wait for people to message your page? Because that's going to take forever. There's about 5 different ways that you can use to rack up tons and tons of subscribers. The first way to do this is to use something called a Facebook send to Messenger checkbox plugin. Okay, so what this is it's an additional. This is actually just an iframe. Okay, the send to Messenger plugin, and what I do is I apply that code, this little additional field, to every form on my website. So if you're like say you're taking webinar subscriptions like SEJ does, why the heck wouldn't you also have people opt into getting a Messenger? Because what the problem with webinars is, like, even if you get like 1,000 signups, typically 200 might show up, Brent. But if you get people to sign up via Messenger and email, in addition to sending out a email blast like 15 minutes before, you can send a chat blast 15 minutes before, and by doing that, you end up with substantially higher engagement rates, because people are like 8 to 10 times more likely to see the messenger update than an email. Any questions about that one?
No, I mean, this was actually my biggest question on my list, was like, how do you actually get people to sign up, right? So this is great. This is awesome.
So typically you use a tool like Mobile Monkey. You can just go create these things called lead magnets. Lead magnets are just ways of collecting contacts, because you really want to have like thousands of contacts on Messenger, and you create this thing called a lead magnet called a checkbox. And if you then just copy this code and then add it to your website forums, it'll add like that little iframe, so that you can start racking up the number subscribers. Brent, another cool way, and you can try this out yourself, basically is to use something called Facebook comment guards. These are Facebook comment guards are autoresponders that are automatic via Messenger. It would be like, you know those annoying auto DMs on Twitter. You can what these are you can attach autoresponders to specific Facebook posts or all of your Facebook posts such that if anyone messages your page, you can message them back through Messenger, okay? And if they then respond to that message, then they're opted in to messaging. Do you follow? So like,
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'd love if everyone on the line here could actually try this out right. If you could just pull up a new browser, or Brent, could you send this link to users? It's bit.ly/fb-post-guard. Okay, bit.ly/fb-post-guards. We have a minute here, guys. If you could just pull up a browser and here, fb- this one here, bit.ly fb coast guard. I can show you how that one works.
While we're pulling that up, I have a quick question, and that's, is there any restrictions on pay for subscription? You remember how you used to not be able to tell people like my page for this contest or like my page for this? Like Facebook was really wary about allowing you to, incentivize people to participate in your experience on Facebook. Can I do a contest that says I'm giving away $1,000 gift card, but you must message me through Facebook Messenger to enter?
I think that that what they penalize the reach of those things. You see what I'm saying? But I guess there's a lot of legitimate use cases here, like just go back for that example of an ebook download. Okay, like so say like we released a new study. Okay, Mobile Monkey has released a new chatbot marketing study. If you just drop a comment here, I will send you the guide. I think that's perfectly legitimate. I'm not paying for anything, but if someone just messages this page as I'm doing this here, can you see this? So I just typed test in the comment, and if you just give it a second, what will actually happen is there it is. It just sent me. Did you hear anything? Did you hear like that ding?
Yeah, I heard it. Yeah, the ding.
Yeah, it's actually on my there. Here it is. It's just you can build autoresponders using Mobile Monkey, the world's best Facebook Messenger platform. Watch it free. Here's a quick example. Are you and now I'm sending them down a chat funnel. It's like, are you an agency or an in-house? Like I don't know.
Respond with yes or no. Yeah, I see it right now in my my message from you.
Yeah. So one of the things that I like to do is for that thing, I like to do Larry, Kim, math, English. Okay, just a second here. What I like to do is I like to do these basically what I post comment bait. I post stuff that that gets a lot of what's the answer? I post stuff on Facebook that gets a lot of responses. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like this kind of stuff, like what's the answer, or this kind of stuff, and they get hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of answers, okay, because everyone wants to know how many rabbits are going to the river, okay, and if you boost these posts, and everyone comments on these damn things, like you end up generating an enormous number of subscribers, okay. So the way that you do that is you just set up these comment guards in Mobile Monkey where you just specify what post do you want to apply this to, or do you want to apply them to every post. Like you can have a kind of default response for every comment, like maybe some kind of a generic guide, or some kind of a generic offer, and then for specific posts, I give very specific, I override with more specific content. Any questions about that one?
Yeah, I mean, so can your auto response be something that's a question to like get them to engage? I mean, if the idea is they get that message, can I say something like, "Are you sure you want to see the answer?" And
Yes,
then they have to say yes, and that's
yeah,
their way of engaging.
yeah. The auto response could be, would you like to know the answer to the how many monkeys are traveling to the river? Type yes for the answer, and then we send them a detailed example. Uh,
That's awesome.
well, so that's the postcard. Okay. The next one I wanted to show you is just links to your content. So as you're creating the content, the chat content, you can link to specific chat pages. Okay, so like I created a sign up page, some sign up page using the builder, and what I do is I just create a link to that sign up page, and I include that in all of my communications. So if you look at like my blog posts, the call to action isn't like us on Facebook, because like those likes are worthless. Like the organic reach is like 1% or less than 1%. Like the call to action on my blog post is to connect with me on Facebook Messenger. Okay, so in like here, mobile monkey, mobile blog. Yeah, see, I don't know. We'll just use this one here. And by the way, this post is kind of shows how to do this. And by the way, like this is like an opt-in for newsletters, but it has the chat sign up there. So this is the example. It's like how many rabbits are going to the river. Like these stuff do great because they generate a lot of comments. This thing here, get occasional tips sent via email, sign up for occasional updates via Facebook Messenger. So what's this link? Well, that link just, instead of linking to a web page, it links to Messenger. Okay. I'm going to show you this thing here. It's just coming up here. It says, would you like to receive occasional tips and tricks about how to do Facebook Messenger marketing using Mobile Monkey, the world's best whatever? Please click yes or no. So even if you say no, you're kind of opted in because you've engaged with the content. But that's an example of a sign up page, and that's just something that I've created using the builder. You just create that content and link to it. Any questions on that?
No, that's beautiful. I love it.
It's right here. I can just show it to you, Larry. It's just a sign up page. It's just an image. It just says a quick questions. Would you like to receive tips and tricks? Yes or no. If yes, go to the page. If no, go to the no page. And that's the whole dealio right there. And you just get a link to this page and then link to that for your blog posts. Moving along here, this is a really great one. It's where you embed the chat application on your website. Okay, so this is where you start getting crazy leads. So like, I'm sure you've seen those websites that have those dumb pop-up chat things. Yeah, have you seen those things?
Absolutely. The ones they hover in the bottom corner. So can I help you with something?
Yeah. So there's a lot of companies that offer this. This is a much superior chat experience, this thing here, because if you type something about jobs or something, like, well, whatever, just say I'm interested in jobs. Okay, says we're hiring. We're visit our jobs page. So if you close this window here, Brent, yeah, I can still get in touch with you because you've opted into messaging, because you're talking to me through my chat plugin, which is Facebook Messenger. Whereas if you're using one of those other products, like, I don't know, we don't have to name any names, but like all those other chat products, like live chat or whatever, if they close the window, you have no way of connecting with them. Do you see anything? You have no way to reconnect with them because they haven't provided you with their chat permissions,
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting.
So it's just it's kind of like remarketing, but I can get back to people who engage with chat via organic messaging. like push
And this is all, I mean, there's a lot of questions coming in. I'll just throw it out right now since we're kind of talking about this type of stuff. But a lot of people are asking, is this GDPR compliant?
Yeah,
And my
yeah.
guess is that as long as Facebook's GDPR
Yeah. Great, great,
fine.
great. So first of all, you can see the messages here. So it's uh, anyone who's ever managed a Facebook business page will know that the messages show up in the inbox here. Okay. And so what the chatbot is doing is it's automatically processing inquiries. So instead of having like chatbots like waiting around, like messages waiting around, like I think these people are actually people from our webinar, like Dana, Gabrielle, or whatever, like Teddy Marie, like these are probably like people on our webinar today. But basically, I can read the conversation, the chatbot can respond automatically, or you can respond manually. So it's kind of like an inbox. In terms of GDPR, the contacts here that you're receiving, why is it saying um, the settings? This is just hang on. There it is. Okay, so it's just saying, you see how I got all these people's information, like Alex Santos or whatever. If they request, GDPR is all about like data storage and all this stuff. So if Alex says like delete all my information and stuff, you can do that. You just have to honor their requests to delete stuff, and then that's GDPR compliance. Okay. Any other questions? Does that make sense, Brent?
For now, I mean, I have a ton more questions, but we'll wait to Q&A unless they're like relevant, you know.
Okay, all right. So this is a really great way to pile up the contacts. That's all these. It's just deploying your Facebook page and your chatbot on your own website via the chat plugin, and the way that you do that is it's here. You go to your HTML lead magnets here, create an element, and it's this one here, the customer chat widget here. Okay. And you just put this code on your footer, or in your Google Tag Manager or something, and that'll deploy that chat widget on your website. Okay, and then there's a couple other ways to do this. One of them is Facebook ads. So, do you do much in Facebook advertising, Brent?
Yeah, I mean, I play around with it. I have a couple campaigns for a couple different companies. I don't do millions of dollars or anything, but definitely have, played with it.
Sure. So Facebook ads is like a $50 billion business. Like tons and tons of companies spend, tons of money on Facebook ads, and they're usually spending them on these two campaign types: traffic and engagement campaigns. So traffic campaigns are where you're paying per click, usually to your website, and these have gotten pretty expensive. It's $3, $4, $5 a click. And the other one is post engagement ads, where you're trying to pay for likes or shares or comments on content. There's a new ad format that's like very, very new within the last few months. It's called send to messenger ads, and I think these are substantially more valuable ad formats because have you seen these before? It's like they're so new that no one's using them.
No, I
But
haven't even seen them. This is the first time I'm seeing them.
it's a send to messenger ad. Okay, so what happens is, like, if someone sees this in their newsfeed and they click send to messenger, you can engage with them in Messenger, but you also get their contact information, as well as they've opted into your Messenger, onto your list. You say, so like, say you spend $5 buying a click from Facebook, and they just go to your website and then close the browser. You have no way to get back in touch with them. But with Messenger ads, they're all opting in for messaging. Do you follow? So I have their information and the ability to reconnect with them, which is enormously more valuable than just these anonymous website visitors. There's one other ad format called sponsored messages. So remember how I was saying, like, you can blast non-promotional content, but like, what if you really, really want to send promotional content to buy that beef burger deal or whatever that stupid example was, the beef burger sale. Well, there's this one called ad format called sponsored message, which will allow you to send promotional content to your existing Messenger contacts, and what you can do is you can narrow your audience. So say you have like 10,000 contacts, but you only want to go after the ones who live in Boston, who live near, near this address or something. Like you can narrow the audience and then just blast those people a sponsored message. This is a different type of ad format. It's not, it doesn't show up in a news feed. It shows up in Messenger, not as a placement, but as though like a friend was messaging you. So it's like a sponsored push notification. Do you see how that's different from a typical newsfeed ad?
Absolutely. It also seems like they're doing like in location based too. So if you have like people are near your store, you can be like, come into my store and get 15% off now type.
Yeah, you got it. So this is like sponsored. It's a very different from the other ad formats that are just shows up with some content in your newsfeed. This is actually a push notification, and you can only push notify people who are in your Facebook contact list. So that's why it is so valuable to get everyone on your freaking contact list into your Messenger contact list. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right, so those are the kind of the things here. I talked briefly about live operator takeover. So all these conversations are happening via the Facebook inbox, like all these conversations. And if at any time you want to take over from the bot that automatically responds to a lot of the stuff, you can just do something called the live operator takeover. That means that if, Brent, if you're typing answers, that the bot will shut itself up so that we're not both talking to the user at the same time, all right, so kind of summarizing what we're talking about today here, Brent, I think that messenger marketing it's a pretty interesting new channel. There's billions and billions of people on the platform using this as their messaging application, yet less than 1% of companies, like you said, you haven't been doing much. SEJ doesn't use any push notifications. Like less than 1% of companies are using messenger marketing. So what that means is that there's a lot of value to reach these billions of people, but not a lot of competition. It would be like using Reddit, like back in the day when it was easier to use because there was less competition. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But using it such that you're using it where there's it has the audience that it has today, with gazillions of users. You can create these interactive chat funnels. It's not just about deceiving people into clicking on stuff. You can create more engaging and more interactive experiences that are simply not possible using email or phone alone. You see what I'm saying? Like say you need to reschedule, cancel, or make an appointment with your dentist. Like this is all stuff that you can create using chatbots that is more convenient for the customer than calling the dentist. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I wonder how long until this integrates, kind of takes over the beacon mentality or locks into the beacon mentality where I could be in a restaurant and it could pop up and say, what do you want to order today?
Yeah, it's good. I think that it's less than 1% of companies are using it right now. I think it'll be like 20, 30, 40% in the next 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
All right. So this is a pretty interesting channel. If you think about, marketing automation for desktop, it was like, companies like Marketo and HubSpot, the whole shtick was like, let us create these landing pages so that we can capture emails, so that we can drip them to death. That kind of way. That was the old way of doing it. And I think the kind of the new way of doing it would be to capture Facebook Messenger permissions so that we can automatically engage with these users via chat. So that's kind of a summary in terms of my top marketing hacks for Facebook Messenger marketing. We talked a little bit about being able to automate answers for commonly asked questions. We talked about the contact hack, how like anyone who messages your bot, we get their user information and the ability to message them back. I personally think that chat blasting is the #1 use case for Facebook Messenger marketing, and then this is like, think of it as like MailChimp, but except that people will actually see this content as opposed to being trapped in some kind of like promotions tab. That we talked about various website plugins to increase your contact list, like the Checkbox plugin, the link plugins, the website pop-ups. We talked about Facebook ad integration. and then these exciting new ad formats that convert at 3 to 5 times higher than other ad formats on Facebook, and as well as live operator takeover, etc. Any questions on these hacks, Brent?
Nah, this is great.
So what does it all mean? Just to close it out, I think never in the history of marketing has there been such a powerful, widely adopted channel like messenger marketing with billions of users, daily active users, with so few people, so few marketers using the channel. Okay, like less than 100,000 bots out there. With such high user engagement rates, like 70 or 80% open rates, and it's not going to be like this forever. And you know how it is in growth marketing. All the spoils go to the early adopters. So I would be like jumping on this, pretty soon. That's what I'm doing, and that's why I'm so excited about it. So thanks, Brent and SUJ team for hosting me. The recording, they're going to make it available, but Brent, would love to have a few minutes left here. Any final questions from our audience today?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, right off the bat, I'd love to ask like two quick questions, and that's just how long do you think? I mean, this is something that I can just imagine, with the tactics that we're talking about. If these catch on, it's not going to be long before people are kind of swamped with messaging. What do you think that the time period is before we start seeing some interesting regulation from Facebook on all of this?
So I disagree with you, Brent. I think this channel is substantially less likely to be abused than, say, email marketing. Okay, so let me give you an example, Brent. In email marketing, if I want to, spam and abuse like this channel, I can just buy a list of marketers. You can just go to, like, I don't know, Zoom Info or something like this and buy like a list of 100,000 names. You know what I mean? And I can blast those people. Okay, so in Facebook Messenger, I can't. No one can do that. Nobody can just buy a list of Facebook names, okay, and off of a truck and just blast them, Facebook Messenger things. They have to be granted explicit permission by the user, and via them opting in via ads or via the kind of the Checkbox plugin, or by initiating a session with the company. Do you see how that's different? It's harder to get permission. And secondly, when you unsubscribe from an email, do you really think that they're going to stop emailing you? Like how did you get on their list in the first place?
Yeah, I get nonstop mailed. So with Mobile Monkey, how is that? One of the questions is, how is that different than ManyChat or Chat Fuel? What's the ad for Mobile Monkey? Like where's the benefit ad, versus competitors in your mind?
Oh, well, so uh, first of all, I've been doing marketing for a decade, trying to help out marketers. That the software products that I work on are super easy to use, intuitive, and are kind of the best in the industry. So I'm pretty confident that this is the world's best Facebook Messenger marketing platform. It's difficult because when you choose a platform, like you're probably using WordPress for SEJ, but like think about like 10 years ago, if you chose, like, I don't know, Drupal or something stupid like that, then you'd be really screwed 10 years later, because you're kind of using the thing that nobody uses anymore. You know what I mean? So like,
Yeah.
I just think, well, why go with these dumb, kind of no-name companies when you have this, like,
Known entity.
yeah, like, yeah, I know you guys. We've chatted before, or we've met before, or we've done events before, and this is going to be kind of the industry leading platform for this kind of stuff.
Does Mobile Monkey integrate with Facebook ads? Is there
Yeah.
a way to integrate?
Yeah, it's really simple. You just create the it's right here in the messenger ads. You just create the campaigns here. You just you say you wanted to send people to like a webinar sign up page. Okay, what you would do is you would just take this code here, copy it, and then insert that in the ad in Messenger ads. So like in the Business Manager, Facebook, it's over here. Well, you get the idea.
Yeah.
It's integrated with the ads. Yep.
So one of the questions was, can you give any, even if you can't show it, do you have any examples of like, messenger campaigns that have been successful, like 1,000 messages were sent and it had like 50% open, or, any kind of example that you can give?
I did one today. I'll show you one I did today. We created a new blog post today, and so under the pages, there's this page called Blog Blasts. Okay, and just it's just it has an image. It just says, "Hey, first name," because you can
Yeah.
those are variables you can insert. Okay, it's Larry here. I just got a new blog post on how to create this, and then you can read the blog. Okay, so that's, you see what I'm doing here? I'm just using
Yeah.
short pieces of text as though it's like a real conversation. Usually you write short sentences, and I just blasted that today, and it's it's still early, but I just did that about an hour ago, and so far it's like more than 50% of people have seen it. So I think that's pretty high. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Another question coming in is pricing. Mobile Monkey, does it have a free model? How much, do you get out of that versus a paid model? What's the paid model look like?
It's a totally free product. So like it's $0 a month, and for unlimited contacts. So it doesn't expire, and it works forever. The paid product is just a few additional um, enterprise features. So like if you want to do like the drip campaigns or the advanced bot analytics, that kind of stuff, then it's like $50 a month. And there's sort of discounts with the monthly payments. All right.
Perfect, perfect. Have you seen any light at the end of the tunnel for this crossing over into Instagram? Is there any connectivity, any chance it's going to?
No, I don't think so. They're eliminating the Instagram API altogether. I think they have different goals and objectives for that product line, and I think they want to. It's funny. Like Facebook has like WhatsApp, so that's another messenger application, and they don't have like the bot APIs on WhatsApp. Okay, there's Facebook Messenger, and for this one, they're allowing bots to exist, and then there's like the whole Instagram product line, and they've just killed the entire API there. Or it's going away later this year. So I think it's just different products have different strategies, and I don't think they're trying the same strategy on every product.
Interesting question came through. There's, elements to the algorithm for Facebook. What is the potential of the impact does messenger advertising have on your page? Does it have a potential? Is there any impact right now, or completely separate from your page's status within Facebook versus your page's messenger?
There's a little bit of a relationship. So, in your Facebook page, it says something like, it says like if your business is responsive. Have you seen that before? Like there's a little badge. It says something like, this company usually responds to, here it is, very responsive to messages, 100% response rate, 3-minute response time. Okay. So
Yeah.
this badge, okay, is based on your historical rate of response. Now, because I have a bot attached to this inbox, of course it responds like in less than 3 minutes because it's automated. And what we have found is that as soon as you get this badge, people are actually more likely to message you. You see what I'm saying?
They feel like somebody's there. If they're 100% responsive and 3-minute response, I do the same thing. I look at a Facebook page, I look at the response time, and I'm like, oh, they're actually, manning this. Somebody's going to respond, and that kind of does lead me to use it a little bit more.
Yeah, it's almost like a 30-40% increase in messages. So it doesn't your question was like, how does the messaging impact the page? It doesn't change the reach of your posts. It doesn't change like the price of your ads or anything, but what it does do is it makes your page more responsive and thereby makes people more likely to send inquiries to the page in the first place.
Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I think we're just about out of time, but I did want to ask one last question because I think that well, actually, one thing we didn't get, and I want to kind of throw up there real quick, is the polls. So let's throw up our polls real quick and just get those answered by everybody real fast, and then we can kind of see what. So the first poll I'm going to launch is on the screen now. Are you an agency or an advertiser? This should be pretty easy for everybody. You're either an agency or an advertiser, and we'll let everybody kind of throw in their answers. I'm not going to keep it up forever, you know, but wow, I'm impressed by the split on this. So I'm going to close this out and I'll show you, but it's actually almost 50-50, which is pretty interesting, actually. I would have figured a lot more advertisers, but I think a lot of agencies are excited right now about this avenue, as they should be based on the information we've seen. And throwing up one last quick poll out there is, what is your monthly Facebook advertising budget? I'm very interested in this. In fact, I just answered a couple questions that some people were asking me the other week. They were like, oh, is 250 a month a decent ad spend, or do I need it to be 1,000 or more? And so I'll be really interested to see kind of what people are looking at from a budget spend, especially when it's 50% agent, right? So I'm interested to see where this comes out at. So we'll close that and then we'll share results, mostly in that 1,000 range, which doesn't really surprise me, except for the fact that it's 50% agency. I guess that's where the 16, you know, the kind of some of the higher budgets come in, but definitely a pretty interesting split there.
Awesome. Well, Brent, thanks for having me on. It's great to be here. We're out of time.
Yeah, we could have probably gone for another hour, but we'll do our best to get the questions that we have left, and we'll try to get everything into the blog post for the recap. And you know, as always, Larry is out there, pretty visible. So make sure you head over to his Facebook page and message him through Messenger. That way you can be informed with everything that he's doing and then some.
Awesome. Thanks, Brent. Have a great afternoon.
Cheers. Thanks, bud. And congrats again on the baby.
Oh, thanks again. Thanks.
Cheers.